LOBO Systems is a game changer. It's up to 10 times faster to assemble than any other system. What we want to do is make accessing your awkward areas simple, and we're going to reduce your cost, and we're also going to increase safety with our tried and tested training program. These are the 3 LOBO tower store units: small, medium and large. We love to demonstrate because you can secure your product overnight. You can see the flat pack nature of the system and the transportation feet on the bottom. Now, these units are currently vertically aligned. You can put them horizontally and you can fit wheels to them. So Paul is now going to take some product out of the tower store, of the smallest tower store we have. As you can see, that's 2 legs. Now, LOBO is in fact a steel system, very strong, and it assembles by sliding the tube into the clamp, which are then tightened by your fingers. No tools are ever required, and that length of tube is one of 5 standard lengths that we provide, but you can have custom cut to suit your applications. The important thing to grasp at this point is that leg can be positioned anywhere you like on the tube, making the width of the product totally adjustable. Paul's going to now tighten the second L-bolt, and you'll notice the system is in fact self-aligning. Building the product is easy. You slide tube into the clamps, and the clamps have been positioned to be in accordance with OSHA CFR 1926. The whole product has been tested to CFR 1926 and is OSHA compliant. What Paul is doing now is showing you that you can actually build LOBO from within. So if you're in a confined space, maybe a staircase or inside a vessel, in between 2 machines, you can often build LOBO around you, and you don't necessarily have to step outside the system to build it. So that's one system done there. Now, we're just going to briefly explain on the left here. We've done this just to save a little bit of time, but looking at this system, this is relatively small by our standards. We can build LOBO around a tailplane of an aircraft, or around a ship. It's as big as you want it to be. But this system is actually ideal for explaining the safety aspects and how quick it builds. That distance there we call the span or length of the product, and that is in fact adjustable from 2 foot all the way up to 12 foot in 2 foot increments. So in that span you would see the conveyor, the machine, the aircraft, the helicopter, the jet engine, whatever it is you're maintaining. And we do it with these different size low boards. Non-slip on this side, aluminium framed on the other. This is what a 1 foot board looks like when compared to a 2 foot. And these are the 2 width options that we provide. Now, Paul's got the 4 foot low board, which is obviously relatively small by our standards, but however, very popular. Now, if this was the 6 foot board or the 8 foot or the 10 foot, you'd still do this to adjust it. So LOBO can actually be made infinitely long by adding more low boards like this. More low boards, more legs, more tubing can go on the length infinitely, and you can do exactly the same on the width. By adding more boards, legs and tubing, you can make the product as wide as you want, as long as you want, and of course as high as you want. Before we go into that, we're just going to introduce this coupler. It's called a low band coupler. And what it does is it couples round tubing to square tubing in seconds, no tools required. Just like that. It'll also couple round tubing to round tubing, just like that, in seconds, no tools required. Now, this little coupler is hugely important to us because it'll make your system very small or very big, but rock solid. It'll also increase the safety. So what we're going to do now is show you how we lock the low board down by using the low band and a piece of tube. As you can see, it will not lift up and it will not slide on the tube. This means you can actually position a low board anywhere on the length of a tube. The next thing we're going to show you is how quick and easy it is to fit a guardrail. That's a guardrail tube going on there. Seconds later, it's now on the system, and what we're going to do now is show you that you can actually adjust the position of the guardrail to maximize your safety requirements for your specific applications. And when you have it exactly where you want it to be, all you do is tighten up the L bolts. Now with that low band coupler, you can actually fit a guardrail anywhere you wish on the system. Now, because LOBO can be made into a very large system, we need to use these sway braces. This is in fact the smallest sway brace that we have. There are two larger sizes, but they all go on the same way, in seconds like this. And if you look at this, you'll notice that it's actually too short. Not a problem. We can take the pin out and we can telescopically adjust this so that it ends up touching the leg, fitting exactly where we want it to be, and then we simply take a low band and connect it up. It's that simple, it's that quick. Now if you look at this system from here, you'll see this cross piece here, we call sway braces, allow you to make a rock solid system to a maximum of 30 feet freestanding. To get to 30 feet, let me show you the extension piece. This is in fact a steel component and adjustable at the bottom. Now we have a process for putting this on, or fitting this. It's called the advanced guardrail process. Don't worry too much about the detail. It's fully covered in our training program. But what it really means is as you build the product, there's always a guardrail in advance of you for safety. If we approach and do the audio test, and then we turn it off, we can actually see we're building a rock solid system, noiseless, and that's exactly what we're looking for. And then we simply fit the adjustable extension in the top of the leg. So now we're going to show you how the product adjusts. You can see there we've got 1 foot of adjustment in 1-inch increments, and this is available every time you put one of these components on the system, all the way up. Now as you can see, Paul's setting that side to 2 holes. If you come to this side of the system, you'll see that's 2 holes too. Why? Well, because we're on flat or level ground. If we weren't on flat or level ground, we're on a slope, a step, escalator, tiered seating, just different levels within the plant or facility. You could set one side of the system different to the other to achieve a level platform. If you don't want to do that, then the other option is to use our different leg sets. The little number 1, the medium number 2, and the current number 3 we're using. Now, since all our legs are interchangeable, you can mix and match to get the most perfect system to suit your requirements. Now, as a responsible manufacturer, we've developed our own training course. This training course is available worldwide, on-site or online, face-to-face. Once you've completed the course and passed the test, you are then deemed competent by us, the manufacturer, to be able to build your system, inspect it for safety. You need to record that fact, and then it's safe for everybody to use. To go to the next level, we simply take more tube from the tower store unit, which we fit onto the next clamp. Now that tube that Paul is about to fit is exactly the same as this guardrail tube, so you're not going to get confused about which tube to use. To get to the next level, we use aluminium ladders as the cheapest option that we have. Now, the aluminium ladder is from a range of ladders that we have. What's important is the use of the LOBO ladder clamp. The ladder clamp, in fact, we're going to use 2 ladder clamps. And once we've tightened up the L bolts that Paul's now doing, that ladder will not come off the system. But you can see it can be adjusted to suit the application, and then you simply tighten up the L bolts, and then it won't move. What I'd like to do now is explain a safety aspect that we have for the product, which is the height to base ratio. As an example, this width of the system here is 32 inches. The maximum, therefore, we can stand at is 3 times 32, which is 96 inches, right around 8 foot. So what do we need to do to go higher? Well, the first thing we can do is we could take that tube out and we could put a longer one in. This leg would move out to the end of the longer tube, thus giving us a wider system. If you can't do that, you need to use a outrigger component. This is a steel component. It has a 20-second fit time, as we're about to show you, and we've put one on this side to save a little bit of time. As you can see, the 20 seconds is up, the outrigger is fitted, and we're going to deploy the rubber foot. That gives us another 36 inches on the base. 36 inches now there, with an additional 32 in the middle, and the one we put on previously gives us another 36 inches. That gives us a total new base dimension of 104 inches, which, when multiplied by 3, which is a safety factor, you can now stand at 25 feet. Another component we like to show at this point is the lifting slider beam attachment. This is in fact the 4-foot version, and we're using the 4-foot because we have a 4-foot low board. They're a matching pair. However, we do have 5 different lengths of this product. The next one would be the 6-footer, which we've set up here. Now, we've set this up slightly differently because we wanted to explain to you that it can be set up freestanding, and in this case we've added a wheel kit. However, returning back to the integrated version, you can see that Paul's put a low band on to integrate it on the product. It comes with a certificate of £1,100 safe lifting load, and you get that certificate every time you purchase one, and also it's a slider beam. Now, the slider beam means if you've got compressors, motors, tools, anything that you want to get up the system or bring down for repair, you now don't have to carry them up and down the ladder. The next thing we want to explain to you is the cantilever. This tube here and its friend on the other side is the basis of a cantilever that we're going to build right in front of you. Now, following certified training by us, you can put this height at anywhere you want on the system. And the cantilever gives you the opportunity to stand outside of the main system footprint. And the way we're going to build it is using an alternative low board top. This is in fact aluminum, and it has an aluminum frame on the back. Now, it is exactly the same low board as before, complete with a hatchway. We've just got a different low board aluminium top. And that's going to fit perfectly on the system. Now, it fits perfect on the system because LOBO is a premium system and everything fits properly to everything else. What we need to do, though, is to make this tube load bearing. And the way we're going to do that is using a sway brace. So this sway brace can be fitted up like that, or from the underneath. Now, this component is not new to you. It is exactly the same as the one we put on earlier, so hopefully you'll remember it's telescopic, and we draw it back to the main leg and simply connect. We'd like to also show you the safety features on this, and if you look at this, the low board cannot lift up, and clearly it cannot come off the system, so it is secure. The next thing we're going to show you is the toe board. The toe board is steel reinforced, it is hinged, and we have one of these for every size of the low board we produce, and they fit around the edges like this. Now, if you look at the corners, there is in fact a pin, which when Paul takes the pin out, you can actually remove the side of the toe board, remove a side of the toe board, replace it or resize it with no problem at all. Finally, we have a toe board clip, which you put on in seconds. Those tubes there and above are the start of a guardrail system that you would fit to stand on the cantilever, and it would end up looking like that. You can see that you're fully guarded. You've got the top handrail, left, right, centre, intermediate, left, right, centre, toe board, low board, working down the system. You can see we've actually fitted wheels. Once the brakes have been released, your product is now mobile, and wheels are completely optional. You can have them and you can fit them when you need them. The wheel is with the bracket. Apply the brakes, and the wheel with the bracket looks like that, and you can see how the 4 wheels are fitted to the trestle legs. This is the LOBO adjustable base plate. It is a 6-inch square base plate, totally interchangeable with all the legs that we have, so you can build off the base plate no problem. Looking more closely at the base plate, you will see there are in fact 4 holes for permanent mounting, or you can put a wheel kit on. And a typical application for the base plate would in fact be the staircase. As you can see, it fits perfectly on the tread of the staircase, and also we've made this absolutely level fitted on a staircase as an example of how the base plate can be used. This is the LOBO single person podium, perfect for underwing maintenance inspections or rolling around the facility, the plant floor. Once the brakes have been applied, you'll see there is a fail-safe guardrail which falls behind the operator, complete with top guardrail, optional tool tray, intermediate rail, toe board on the bottom. This is height adjustable up to a maximum standing height of 5 foot.